Well, here it is. It's 10:30. Good morning, everyone. Uh, Beginning the meeting. Any minutes changes, or can we approve the minutes?
They look good.
So approved. I'd like to take on the consent items in the true spirit of a consent calendar and pass it right on through unless any of my colleagues would like to pull an item, because we read the report. And the consent items move forward. Moving on to item 3, James de Herrera, Fifth Amendment to the 22nd Avenue outfall at Westerly Creek Improvement Project.
Good morning, council members, staff. Good to see everyone. James D. Herrera. The item today is an amendment to a Mile High Flood District IGA, and I'd like to introduce Sam Scorza, one of my team members, to give a brief presentation for y'all today. Sam?
Morning, everyone. Thank you. I had a momentary issue to get onto my VPN, so that's opening right now. I appreciate your patience. All right, let me just share my screen. And let me know if you can see it.
We can see it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. My name is Sam Scorza. I work with the Mile High Flood District to execute our IGAs, which is whenever we have a partnership with them to complete a project. So this IGA is an amendment to one that this Water Policy Committee and Council have seen before, the 22nd Avenue outfall drainage improvements. We're talking about this area just a little bit west of the Stanley Marketplace. And we need to provide water quality for this section of the city, as well as improve some of the stream function here. We can improve some stream health. So our main goals would be to construct a water quality feature around here and add some sinuosity to the stream, which would also remove developing properties here out of the floodway. We've been partnering on this with the Mile High Flood District for the last few years, and we are getting closer to being ready to construct the project. Our design is most of the way through, and so this year, previously we've contributed about $8 million. This year, we are bringing that total up to about 12, with a $500,000 contribution from Aurora Water. Parks has obtained a Adams County development grant for $1.86 million, and the Mile High Flood District will be contributing another $2 million to the effort this year, bringing us ever closer to our estimated cost of $14 million. So the question is, does the Water Policy Committee support moving this IGA amendment to the regular council session?
Questions for Sam?
Is this the last one?
We're very close.
Okay.
We're very close to the last one. We're at 12 million, and hopefully the next one is the last one that brings us over the finish line.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Hancock.
I'm wondering, have we started any construction, or is this just the paperwork phase?
We're still in the paperwork phase. Our design is moving forward. It's not quite under review yet. There's a lot of communication between all of the local stakeholders that's bringing us towards the best possible design, and then we'll move forward to construction. So haven't started breaking any ground yet.
Okay.
Good question. Any more questions?
Actually, one more.
Yes, go ahead.
Did Sam use the word sinuosity?
Wow.
I did.
She's a storm drainage engineer. She knows all of these things.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna throw that word in every once in a while.
That's $1 million word right there.
I'll put some-
Sinuosity. Dare I say, what does that actually mean? For me, who's not an engineer, what does that mean to a layman?
So you can see on this screen that we've really made this stream very straight, very straight. And streams don't usually like to be very straight. They'll pick up sediment, they'll move, they'll curve. And so more sinuous, I always like to think of it as making a big S shape for sinuous, is adding some curves into that stream. So you can see in our very professional design picture, we've added a lot more bends and curves to that shape, more sinuous.
Okay. Does that help with flow? Because you had mentioned something about the water table and taking it out of the risk flood.
Yes. So if the stream is right here, like it was in the last picture, I hope you can see my mouse, then if it floods, it's going to move over this way. Since the stream bed is already right here, if it fills up and overflows, it's going to get closer to the property. We're physically moving the stream away from those properties, meaning that if it were to overflow a little bit and outgrow its stream bed, you can kind of see the light blue versus the dark teal. The light blue is where we anticipate the flood waters going, which is now nowhere near the properties. So physically moving it away is helpful, and giving it a better path that it doesn't have to just go straight will also help it infiltrate a little better. So both.
Interesting. Good work. We'll have to have a opening ceremony when it's done.
I think it'll be beautiful, and that would be a great thing to look forward to.
Wow,
Thank you, Sam. Any opposition to moving it forward?
No.
All right. Item 4, don't be jealous. Jessica LaPierre and myself, we serve on the Cherry Creek Quality Water Basin Authority together. If you need to know anything about phosphorus, cattails, invasive species, let us know. Please take it away, Jessica.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Just touching on this is a reoccurring agreement. It's an annual agreement between Mile High Flood District, the City of Lakewood, the City of Denver, and us. It is to address our shared regulatory requirement to conduct the wet weather monitoring requirement per our stormwater MS4 permit. And the financial commitment for this agreement has not changed from last year, so we are requesting that the contribution from Aurora be to the amount of $29,000 for the total agreement to move forward. And if you have any questions regarding the agreement, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions?
Okay, me again.
Yes.
So, because I am coming into this, very late in the game, and this seems like this has already been in play. I just want to know what, I've read the backup. Where are we in the process again of actually implementing this project?
So right now, the sampling season is from April 1st to October 1st, and that is where the USGS actually goes to our sample sites. We have 5 different sample sites across the state and along South Platte River up near Sand Creek, and they collect those samples between that seasonal time period and then put together a report. They just put together the report from last year in 2023. That is what we attach to our annual report that is due to the state April 1st of each year. And so in this process right now, they are set up to continue the sampling, begin that sampling period from April 1st to October. Then they will collect the data, put it into a report for us as well. And then for 2025, we'll do the same thing, attach that to our MS4 annual report because it is a regulatory requirement, and submit that to the state. So sampling has not been started yet for this year, but it will be April 1st through October.
Okay. So I'm seeing District Denver, Aurora Water, Lakewood. So the sampling consists of what? To see what's in the water, how it's impacting the environment, if there's heavy metals or PFAS or anything like that in there. Is that what's being measured?
It's actually the stream flow and the precipitation, the actual stream flow of the different sampling locations. We also sample for various analytes that were required by our MS4 permit. And those analytes were actually required under the 1997 agreement with the City and County of Denver's Water Quality Management Program. So they have not changed since 1997 of what we sample for. It will most likely change once we get a permit renewal. We just haven't seen that yet. But for right now, it's just basically understanding the flow of the stream after major storm events. So just understanding what's flowing down the stream after, a heavy rainstorm or a snow melt event.
Okay.
Thank you, Jessica.
No problem.
Any other questions, or can we move this forward? It's fine. So moved. Welcome to the meeting, Mayor Kaufman. If you didn't get a chance to wish him a birthday wish yesterday, you can give him a belated birthday wish now.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mayor.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
He's looking younger all the time.
Yeah, older than dirt.
So speaking of the mayor, I think this will be right up his alley, and I am interested in hearing about this. Turf transformation for water conservation and hydroelectric energy recovery project grant. Luz.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me this morning. This is going to be an information meeting, and then hopefully we are successful with the grant and we can move it forward. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. So like Steve mentioned, my name is Luz Alejandro Lopez. I'm the grants coordinator here for Aurora Water. And I am presenting our Sustainable Turf Transformation and Hydroelectric Energy Recovery Grant Project. It's going to be very wordy, so brace everybody. And the funding agency for the project is the Bureau of Reclamations. We're applying to the Water Smart grant with the emphasis on water and energy efficiency for this fiscal year 2025, or I guess next fiscal year. And just a quick grant summary. Through water and energy efficiency grants, the Bureau of Reclamation provides financial assistance to support projects that result in qualifiable and sustained water savings, implement renewable energy components, and support broader sustainability benefits. And just a quick summary of our project. Because of the requirements of the Bureau of Reclamations, we combined two of our projects to meet all of the criteria. And so Aurora Water is committed to enhancing and protecting the quality of life for Aurora citizens by providing safe, dependable, and sustainable water, sewer, and stormwater services today and in the future. The City of Aurora Sustainable Turf Transformation and Hydroelectric Energy Recovery Project will help Aurora Water conserve and use water more efficiently and increase the production of renewable energy. So because like I mentioned, we have to combine two projects. So we will be combining our turf replacement project as well as our hydroelectric project. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on each project individually. So this is our Gun Club hydroelectric energy recovery project. And the pictures here are just of some pumps, and they look very small, but they're very significant. So the hydro component of the project will involve installing a hydroelectric generation unit in an existing water pipeline within the city of Aurora's distribution system. So each year, thousands of kilowatt hours of potential energy remain untapped at locations where Aurora Water has pressure reducing valves, which we call PRVs. Instead of wasting this potential energy, the new hydroelectric generation unit, the PRV hydro system, recovers most of it and converts it into electricity. So what this means for us is that the total electricity produced by the PRV hydro turbine will be measured in two different ways: a production meter installed by Xcel Energy and a production monitor connected to Aurora Water's SCADA system by InPipe Energy. The current estimated production from the 56 kilowatt systems is 255,000 kilowatts per hour per year. An estimated 10% will be consumed by the site to run SCADA communications and valve actuators. The remaining energy will be sent back to the grid. And then the excess energy produced will be credited by Xcel Energy as an offset to highly energy intensive facilities of Aurora Water. So it's a great benefit to us. Thus, the performance measures will be directly based on production meters installed at the sites. And then the funding for this, um, the the contractor has already been selected using a competitive bid process. We started this back in 2023, and the winning bidder was In Pipe Energy, and is providing a turnkey project at a lump sum of $400,000. And then the second part of this grant is the Sustainable Turf Transformation for Water Conservation and Park Environments project. We are partnering up with pros for this project as well. And so in parks across the city, Aurora Parks Recreation and Open Space staff are converting areas of Kentucky bluegrass turf to water efficient alternatives such as native grasses in low usage areas of drought tolerant Bermuda turf in high usage areas. This conversion will reduce water usage in these areas by 70%, conserving millions of gallons of water while still providing ample space in our parks for public use and enjoyment. So this began in 2002, and hopefully by 2004, the park staff plans to convert 22.28 acres. So it'll save us about 24.22 acres feet per year of water. And this just means that the reduction in water consumption for park maintenance will result in water savings of 31.5 acre feet per year. Historical water consumption data was scrutinized to gauge the average annual turf consumption. Although the current estimates do not incorporate adjustments for weather variations, the total surface area of turf to be removed is 23.18 acres of a little bit over 1 million square feet. And then the funding for this project, the turf conversion components costs include administration by a project manager and inspection costs by a project inspector. The estimated total for this project is a little bit over 1.1 million. And so just a quick budget summary. So to break down the numbers, for the hydro project, the total cost is 400, and it is the grant requires a 50% match. And so because of that, we had to break down the projects into 50% so that we could request exactly 50% of each project. And so for the hydro project, it's 400,000. So we're requesting 200. And then for the turf, it's 1.1. So we're a little bit over 1.1. So we're requesting 581,006. And just to give you an idea of the savings for Aurora Water with if hopefully this grant is approved by the Bureau, is the total project combined cost is a little bit over 1.9 million. And the total cost for us is only going to be 408,000. So it would be a great financial benefit to us. We submitted the grant in February 22nd, and the Bureau of Reclamations is currently reviewing it. So we should hear back in the next couple of months of whether or not we were successful. Any questions? I know that was a lot. A lot.
Questions, Councilwoman Bergan.
Thank you. Question on this, we're spending 408,000 for the turf conversion with pros and water funding. What do you anticipate to actually be a savings from converting it to turf in terms of water usage in dollar amounts? Like, are we going to recoup the 408 in a couple years or?
So because of the way that the turf works, we can't really gauge an actual amount. And right here on the outcome, so what we predict, because we can only predict, there's weather and stuff to take into consideration. And so we predict that total savings of 3.1 acres feet per year of water that will be saved. So we don't have an amount, but we have how much water we
Okay,
can
but
save, if that makes
we know-
sense.
We know how much we spend to irrigate
Yeah,
the turf,
well, so we know roughly how much it costs us to acquire an acre foot of water.
right?
So that we're paying just to acquire the water rights about 20, we'll say 25,000 an acre foot. I mean, that varies a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So you can do the math on the 31
It's about
times,
$800,000.
but that only represents the cost to acquire the water right.
Right.
And then we have the cost to convey it. So we have operational costs, and this is probably what Luce was referring to. There are a lot of other costs associated with getting that water into our system. So there's treatment costs, there are conveyance costs. So the simplest comparison is just to look at the 25,000 per acre foot times 31.5 acre feet, coming up with that number.
That's 787,500.
All right.
Right. So, but there are a lot of other costs that are associated with a water supply on top of that roughly 800,000. So the savings pans out at the end of the day, especially with the grant contribution
Yeah.
to this. It's a
Right.
really good deal. We do, and we could bring back some additional calculations on more holistically the cost of a water supply, but because you
Yeah,
have
no,
the
I just
land
wanted
acquisition,
kind
you
of-
have all those others. Yeah,
Yeah, I
ballpark.
just wanted an
And-
overall idea of,
Yep.
you know, that
Yep.
the benefit obviously is,
Yeah.
you know, is evident now. Just second
And also,
question
oh, sorry.
is, second question, what will go in place of the turf?
Bermuda.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah.
depends. So some of it would be the Tahoma 31 Bermuda grass, which
Yeah.
is shown in the lower picture. The upper picture is native grass. So the water savings is different between the two. The native grasses, basically you get rid of almost all irrigation needs on the native grasses. The Tahoma 31 Bermuda grass, you save about 66% of the historical water usage. So there is some irrigation with the Tahoma 31. And the plan actually identifies which areas would be the native conversions with the slightly higher water savings and the areas that are the Tahoma 31. I will note the one area that everybody will see is the Great Lawn at the AMC is scheduled to be converted to the Tahoma 31, which should be a really good application for that. A lot of the other more aesthetic areas, so for example, maybe out on the what is that? The east side of the AMC, some of the Kentucky bluegrass and the medians and curbsides will be converted to native grasses. So,
And
Thank
Mayor
you.
Kaufman has a question. I'm sorry if you're not done yet.
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Françoise. Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'm Marshall, I'm wondering if you could do me a favor on this, in that all items that involve water conservation of any kind, if they could list the chairman of the Water Policy Committee as the sponsor when it comes before council, and then I'll defer then to the chair of the Water Policy Committee when it comes before council, and then he can give an explanation of it, and then turn it over to staff for more details. But I think that we've discussed this issue about
Conversions.
Councilmember Sundberg taking the leadership on this issue versus me. I'm still identified as a leader on this issue, and I think we need to change that.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Further questions? Luce, when would we find out the grant?
So they have 60 days to review, and we turned it in February 22nd. So we should find out sometime in April. They can come back with us and say that, you know, they want a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that to make a decision, or they could come at with us and say we already have a decision, and you know, either we're moving forward or we're not. But we should know by next month.
Okay. Thank you, Luz. Nice presentation.
Of course.
Appreciate you. And no further questions. Is this just informational only? Do we need to seek approval through study session? Or?
Yeah, this was just information for everybody.
Okay. Thanks, Luz. Moving on to the Aurora Watershed Management and Source Water Protection Plan. Richard.
All right, good morning. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, appreciate the opportunity to speak with the committee once again today to go over our source water protection plan. The source water protection plan is really a plan to steward lands from which our water derives from. The water, the lands the water comes over to get to us, and really it's focused on protecting water quality. We chose this photo here. This is Twin Lakes, and 50% of our water comes into this facility here. So, again, just thinking about water quality and protection. This is the reason why we have this plan. Our plan really focuses on the threats to our water supplies, predominantly wildfire and sedimentation from wildfire, but there are also other threats that some of our water supplies face. If this will let me advance here. There we go. So Aurora's watersheds are fairly large, about 3.2 million acres. We get our water from the South Platte Basin, Arkansas Basin, and the Colorado Basin. So this map shows the extent of our watersheds. You can see it covers a large portion of the state. Looks like I went backwards. So why do we need the plan? Well, thinking about wildfires, we have a huge fuel load in the state, and really what that translates to is larger fires, more intensive fires. And the reason for that is we've suppressed fires over the last 100 years. We fight wildfires intensively. Fire is a natural part of the ecosystem, but we've suppressed that. In addition, we've had some outbreaks, predominantly the pine beetle outbreaks that have killed a lot of trees, and we have a lot of standing dead. And so we have that is added to the fuel loading. As a result of wildfires, the biggest impact that we see is the sedimentation. The ground basically loses the vegetation, and as water comes off, it brings a lot of sediment from the fire location down into our drainages. Buffalo Peak Fire, Hayman Fire were two of the larger fires in the South Platte Basin above Stronach Springs that had a significant impact in terms of sediment. So in terms of the history of our program, we actually started 2002 to 2007 timeframe, looking at source water protection, and really with a major focus on our program and what we do within watershed protection. This is a chart I had our folks put together that just shows the levels of funding and the number of projects that we've funded actually since 2002. And I think in the packet doesn't show up quite that well, and we can get you a PDF if you like that shows this a little bit more detail. But this shows just by year the number of projects we've done and the funding levels that we've been able to offer. Since my group took over the program in 2017, and we're very focused on collaborative efforts where we can work with our partners, Forest Service, State Forest Service, other utilities, to get our funding out there, but in a matching way where our dollar can become $2, right? And so you can kind of see the number of things that we've funded over the years. We try to work in all basins that our water comes from, as well as really looking at how we can maximize our dollar that's out there. So in terms of the source water protection plan itself, we've been working on the plan for a few years now, and we have a final draft here. It's really kind of three sections: the management plan, thinking strategically, implementation, and then some of the recommendations. So in terms of the strategy, we're really focused on collaboration, communication, management in the forest, and then ecosystem services. And that's really what benefits the watersheds can also provide, particularly for water quality. In terms of implementation, this is probably my favorite figure in the document. This shows how we prioritize our watersheds. So the area in red there is actually a high risk area. So as we're looking at opportunities to work within our watersheds, we compare these opportunities to maps like these that show the risk. We can kind of get a better sense of how much benefit we will get from certain projects. So the plan itself really is a risk-based plan. We look at where our water sources are, where our infrastructure is within that basin, the condition of the forest, the types of soils, all of those things go together to make up this map. And so we really use these kind of figures to help us determine where we really should be focusing. We are involved in a lot of different partnerships throughout the state. Forest Service, State Forest Service, Upper South Platte Partnership, which is a lot of the NGOs, Denver Water, a lot of the local fire districts in that area. We're also involved in the Arkansas River. And then we, as utilities, as water providers, we also work together with our partners like Denver Water, Colorado Springs. One of the projects that we've funded for the last few years is Miller Gulch. That's a stewardship project being done by a nonprofit company. They've done all the legwork with the Forest Service, and we are matching funding there, and they're treating about 1,500 acres in the North Fork of the South Platte. Again, just another really good partnership. So thinking about source water protection, reasons why we do it is that sediment does create problems within our system. If we get sediment that's coming down, turbidity goes up, our treatment costs go up, and so if we can prevent or mitigate impacts from wildfires, it helps us on the water quality side. Leveraging through collaboration, again, just getting those various parties that are interested in the various parts of our watershed together, we can work together and do a lot more within the watersheds. So in terms of recommendations from the plan, it's of course participating in projects, looking for opportunities. The legislation is a very big component because that's where a lot of the authorities to work in the forest come from, as well as a lot of the funding. And so we're very engaged there. We use GIS heavily. As you can imagine, the spatial component's very important, and as new data sets come in, we're watching those and trying to incorporate those. We are looking to revisit the plan about every 4 to 5 years, kind of in conjunction with our integrated water master plan, just to make sure that we are up to date. So I think with that, we'll take questions.
Councilwoman Bergan.
Thank you. Really important work. I guess from the state perspective, are they pretty open to thinning the forest? Because I know, there's been debates on whether we thin or
Yeah.
we don't thin.
That's a great question. So in terms of if we're working on public land, and particularly federal land, any prescription or any project has to go through the NEPA process, the National Environmental Protection or Policy Act a process. And so they look at the impacts of and the benefits of doing those types of projects. So we are engaged in those activities when they happen, and then we work with the Forest Service or the State Forest Service during those projects. So Miller Gulch went through that a project that the city funded last year above Turquoise Lake also went through that process. So there is a process for that to get into the forest and do that work.
And people are seeing, obviously, the benefit of doing that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The benefits are, really creating defensible space, getting the fire to go to the ground where it's easier to fight, tying into natural features like rocks and those kind of things. And really, it's focused on lessening the intensity of a fire if it does come through there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Further questions? Richard, are we happy with the state's efforts in this regard?
I would say we are on the state side. The Colorado State Forest Service is under Colorado State University, and we have a lot of engagement with them, particularly through the Upper South Platte partnership. They lead that effort. Aurora actually helps fund part of that in terms of funding some of the overhead for the program manager that runs that program. Us and Denver Water contribute to that. So the state Forest Service will operate in the state's forest, which is a lot of land that's held by State Land Board. They have jurisdiction over that. We have a project in the North Fork that we're working on, Mercosur Gulch. We have some water rights up there, and that's a large effort that we've been involved with for several years. So from the state side, there's a lot of collaboration going on.
Thank you. Further
Yeah.
questions?
Rich, it looks like the mayor has his hand up for a question as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mayor.
Oh, I think you're muted, Mr. Mayor.
How about our federal partners? How are we doing with them?
We have a very good relationship with our federal partners. I have one staff member who's focused on watershed health, and he has been doing a very good job of developing relationships at the national forest level. What we find is working at the forest level in the supervisor's office is kind of the best way to engage with the U.S. Forest Service. They're on the ground. They've got a lot of control over the ranger districts, and so our partnerships there have been growing, and we're involved in every forest that's within our watershed.
What are some of our most difficult areas when it comes to fuel buildup, when it comes to overgrowth in our watershed?
In terms of spatially or just kind of overall?
Overall.
Overall, yeah, I would say probably our difficulties are it's the process is slow, and the treatment is very slow. When we're working in the forest directly, we're tagging trees. It's done by hand crews, and so the process is slow, and the pace and scale is probably our biggest challenge, just our ability to get in there. The other issue that is a Colorado issue is the timber industry itself. We don't have the types of trees that are as marketable as, say, the northwest part of the country. And there's one mill in Montrose. A lot of that forest product goes for making fencing, poles, pallets, that small lumber, mulching. So, Colorado's timber industry, it's it creates a little bit of difficulties in terms of that pace and scale.
And if we have a catastrophic fire and it burns so hot that it sterilizes the soil, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, early in the presentation, it's there's we showed the Trail Creek project.
Okay.
After the fire, there's what's called a BEAR team, burn area response team, and that is usually a Forest Service led team. They go in, they assess the fire. We get involved in those kind of things to understand the damage and the potential impacts. What I would say is, talking about the Trail Creek example, the best thing we can do is either go and do work in those areas pre-fire, creating sediment basins, those kind of things, or post-fire go in and doing the same thing. The key is to get up into the drainages to do those types of projects, because once the sediment's down in the bottom of the canyons and the main stems, it's too late. So if we can get up into the basins and catch that sediment, that's the best thing we
Okay.
can do post-fire.
Thanks.
Yep.
Do we
I would
target
just
beetle kill?
add-
Oh, I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Yep.
I was going to add to the labor intensity of forest thinning and forest health projects is often the topography, because it can be very steep slopes, which make it very difficult to get equipment. And they actually we did a pilot project a couple years ago where they brought this machine that you would like secure off the side of the hill, and it would go down and it would cut the trees, skin the trees,
Wow.
put them in the back of the truck. But it was extraordinarily expensive and slow because it's doing each tree, sort of individually on these very steep slopes. So it is quite labor intensive, and the amount of forest that needs assistance is huge. So everything we can do in this regard really helps our system.
And beetle kill is a targeted effort, I imagine.
It is, yes. Certainly in areas that we've got authorization to work in, and that gets down to the prescription that the Forest Service or the state Forest Service will develop. They will leave some of that there because you balance other aspects of the ecosystem for birds and other animals that rely on the trees as well. So that's part of the whole process, is looking at how can we create these defensible spaces and also work in other parts of the environment. But yeah, certainly anything that's standing dead is certainly going to be looked at as part of that prescription.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're doing more than the state of California is on this issue.
No.
Sorry, I had to get that in there. Sorry.
There we go. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they've got
I
some
think
serious
it has become a huge priority across the West, as we've seen the catastrophic wildfires build in intensity and size. I mean, Texas just lost over 1 million acres to wildfires in the last several months. So this effort, this type of work is getting a lot of attention at every level of government because it's so critical to so many aspects, but certainly to water protection.
Very important, critical. Thank you.
Yep.
Any miscellaneous matters for consideration come to mind, council members or Marshall, Mayor? Yes, Marshall?
Yeah, we do have coming up in May the water conservation event that came out of the discussions at council when we had drought restrictions last year and had some people excited that the Great Lawn got watered inappropriately. So we created and we'd been contemplating this for a while, so it's a fantastic opportunity. We've got scheduled on May 18th now a community-wide event on a Saturday to bring the public in, focus on water conservation. We've currently got like 18 vendor booths scheduled to be set up. We also have some educational seminars, little seminars is probably not the right word, but little short educational presentations on a few different topics that are planned for the event. So I know Councilman Sundberg, I've spoken with you, and you're, I believe, planning to be there and help kick off one of those little educational events. I didn't have a chance yet, though. Council members Bergan and Hancock or Mayor Kaufman to follow up with any of you to see if you were interested, able to join, and if so, if you'd like the opportunity to help maybe kick off one of those little events. I'm trying to look. I've got the title here
Different from the
somewhere.
one you talked to me about earlier? Is this different from that?
This is different. That was the Youth Water Festival.
Oh, okay.
That I shot out to the committee members before and said, hey, any time or involvement that you may have or availability for the Youth Water Festival. The Youth Water Festival is a different date. Somebody remind me, what's the date for that?
Thursday prior to, that's the 18th, so that's Thursday prior to the water conservation event. And I'll send out an email on Friday with suggested activities you can attend for the Youth Water Festival.
And I'm planning to be there, and I think one of the opportunities at the Youth Water Festival is I'll wander around. I've done this once or twice before, just kind of popped in and out of, we have so many different things going on there. It's crazy. So I like to just rotate around and observe all the different things that are going on. I'm happy if any of you are able to join for all or part of that day to bop around with you and poke our heads in and out of some of the things that are going on. It's a really fun event. So the Water Conservation Day is the Saturday after that, so it could be some time commitment. But we've got 4 different educational sessions planned for that day. That could be an opportunity if any of you would like to help share maybe your thoughts on what water conservation means to you personally or to the city, and then help kick off one of the different sessions. So you can think about that, and if you're able to make it, I guess let us know. The event's primarily going to be going on the morning of the 18th. We're going to provide some breakfast and lunch to the residents who can come join us for the day. And should be a fun day, but want to make sure we get you integrated or plugged in. Councilman Jurinsky is going to be there also to help kick off, introduce, share her thoughts on water conservation. She's the only other council member we've heard from. She was the one that we negotiated the day in response to the great lawn fiasco we had last year.
I'm going to try to be there. It depends on when I fly out for the ICSC conference for retail.
What time?
Those dates again were what?
11th
May 18th for the water conservation event, and that'll be at the conservation garden at the AMC would be where we're setting up for that.
It's already on my calendar, so.
Fantastic. Okay. So we will tentatively plug, I'm hearing both council members Bergan and Hancock in. I'm looking for really quickly to see if you're more passionate about one of these topics than another. One of them is, and this might fit you, Councilman Bergan, veggies. So it's kind of a gardening.
I'm more
session.
Flowers, but okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm veggies. I have a garden every
Okay,
year, so
okay.
I'll do veggies.
Okay, so thank you. Veggies, we'll put you down, Councilwoman Hancock. Composting is one of the others. Maybe this one fits you better, Councilman Bergan. Building pollinator superhighway in the suburbs.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
flowers, right?
Butterflies. Woo,
Yeah,
woo.
yeah.
Bees.
Bees.
Okay, so we can plug you in on that one.
Tried to grow some bees one year.
Yeah, yeah. So the other two are water-wise landscapes of the future and composting. So I don't know,
Who wants to take
Chairman Sundberg, if you want to take one of those on or not. Or Mayor, I don't know if you can be there.
What time is it?
We're starting these discussions at 9 a.m. And we would be, I guess they are a little longer. We have an hour set aside for each one. I don't think they're going to go an hour, are they, Tim?
No, so they're starting at 9 o'clock on the hour. They're 30 to maybe 40 minutes with the kind of intro council member portion. The last one's at 1 o'clock, starts at 1. So that one will wrap up 1:30, 1:40.
I'll take on the if it's yellow, let it mellow class. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Do you know when the pollinating one is? What time?
Pollinating one is at noon.
Okay, yeah, I got to figure out my flight, but I'll let you know.
Okay, if not, composting is at 11.
I will pass on you know who would be good at that is Curtis Gardner. He's works for Waste Management.
Ah, that's true.
Mm.
Yeah,
he's all about the trash.
Okay.
No, I'll leave that one
The
alone.
water-wise landscapes of the future is at 1. And kind of a welcome irrigation efficiency, caring for trees, that kind of stuff is at 9. That's the one we tentatively have Councilwoman Jurinski plugged in.
Great, we can hammer out those details. Thanks for everyone's willingness. I was curious regarding the packet that we have, who is responsible for putting it together? Was it Casey?
Casey.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say great job, Casey. That must be a lot of work.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very detailed. Very detailed. Thank you. Our next meeting will be April 17th, and I'll be in Rifle for an energy symposium. I don't yet know if I'll be able to lead the meeting. If not, we'll look to Vice Chair Hancock for that. But great meeting, everyone. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.